All right now. Okay. We're going to pretend I know how to use this. All right now. Okay. And there we go. That's me. So first and foremost, what I would love to do is just thank you all for being here and welcome you to the National Museum of African American Music. Okay. Thank you for being our guest. I am honored to be on stage, but I'm more honored to open doors to such a wonderful, wonderful program and women like you and a few gentlemen hiding in the crowd. We see you here on a sneak tip. You're not supposed to be here. That's okay, though. But honestly, I'm really, really honored to open up the doors to you because this museum is an institution. And so I'm going to walk you through a couple of things, but we're going to start with a video. You have any sound?
The National Museum of African American Music is now open. Located in downtown Nashville, Tennessee, our museum tells the story of America's music and the people that made it. Complete with interactive galleries and artifacts from some of your favorite artists, the National Museum of African American Music celebrates Black music 365 days a year.
We now have a place where young Black children can see people who look like them, venerated and celebrated as the icons they are.
NMAAM is the personification of one nation under a groove. This is a place for everyone where we want people from all walks of life to come to learn and play, and where we can celebrate our common humanity.
To plan your visit and buy tickets, go to blackmusicmuseum.com.
So by a show of hands, how many people have actually been to a museum prior to today? Okay, by a show of hands, how many of you loved your experience? All right, now that's good, very, very good. And thank you again for visiting the museum. And so what I would love to talk to you guys about today is a couple of different things. Not only talk about the museum and introduce you to the museum if you have not been, but I'm also hoping to talk about, because we're all marketers, is a little bit of magic of what we have done and what we're doing, and then also a little bit about the methodology of how we're getting it done. And so for those who have not visited the museum, what I love about it is actually the intersectionality of history and music. As much as we call ourselves a music museum, as you can see, there's instruments and outfits and all this great pictures of people smiling. We're also a history museum because what we discuss here is the intersectionality of when Africans entered the Americas and the impact that they've had in this country that birthed what we know as music. And when I thank you. And when I say music, I'm not just talking about hip hop, R&B, jazz, the things that we think when we think Black music, but all music. And there has been some impact on all music when we think about America and the great country we're in and what's happened in our history. And so there's different, again, intersectionality. So when you get an opportunity, when you come to the museum, you'll have a chance to walk through our galleries and learn some history and discover some awesome things that either music and or history has had in America to give us some things that we love and enjoy and take for granted, okay? And so because of that, as you see up here, our mission is to educate the world, preserve the legacy, and to celebrate the contributions that Black people have made in America and in culture, and we just call that music. And so I'll also do another thing here that's really important. We are a museum, but I actually say we're actually an institution. When you think of a museum, you think, okay, it's a place I go, there's art, it's going to give me some history lessons, but it's an institution because we have so much more to offer outside of what you see on the walls. So, when you say the walls, what you mean, Tuwisha? Well, we have 7 galleries. We have 56,000 square feet. We have over 50 music genres and subgenres. What you don't see on that screen is that we also are very high tech. And when I say high tech, you come in, you receive a bracelet, and with that bracelet, you can walk around the museum and capture your experience. And that experience can be singing with a choir against a green screen. You can download music and playlists of artists you may not know that you may discover. You can do a hip hop song, make a beat, get into the worlds of what jazz to improvise, or maybe even produce or write a blues song. All that's here for you to touch and feel, because as an institution, what we are dedicated to is not only showing great artistry, but explaining how the art comes to life, putting you in the place of an artist, putting you in the place of a producer or someone who plays an instrument, and really understanding what we call edutainment, what really goes behind the great works. So we're really, really proud of that here. And because of that, I call us an institution. Another reason why we call ourselves an institution is because I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to participate in any of our programs or come and see some folks who stopped through here. As an institution, we also have educational programs that we're extremely proud of. And one that I can speak of is a partnership that we have with Sony. You guys want to hear about this partnership with Sony? It's actually pretty cool. Okay. So one of the programs that we have with Sony is we're developing what we're calling a certification in Black music business. Yeah, right? It just clicks. And what makes it so cool, and why I say, again, institution, is because I'm sitting in a classroom. This is a classroom, ladies and gentlemen. I have everything in here from 1619 going into the present day. I work with several Black music ethicologists that not only created the storyline, but they teach it, they breathe it, they're PhDs. Sony is sitting on some of the biggest brand CEOs and executives that you've ever met, right? Put those two together and you have a curriculum that we can now give to other people to understand that it's a music business, but the nuance of Black music business, because we're sitting in a classroom. And so we're so excited about that partnership, and that's why I keep saying institution, because beyond what you can see, we have an opportunity to leave a legacy and teach and provide information using what we have in our partnerships. Another reason I say we're out of the box is, look where we're sitting right now, here today. We're having this conversation in a museum, not because it's beautiful, because it is, but also because it's a gathering spot that allows us to work on a commonality of what we love, which is music. No one in here, and if you do, raise your hand, I'm going to judge you, who doesn't love music? Thank you. So, because he doesn't love music, thank you. I was waiting for someone to raise their hand just because, but I'm glad you didn't do it. But because of that, it offers a venue that you can think through and do things in outside of just having guests. Imagine diversity and inclusion taking place here. That conversation. Imagine a conversation around women, civil rights. Imagine a conversation about celebration. Whatever music touching, culture touches, we're touching. So this venue allows us to host and do things, again, outside of the box that makes us breathe and do things a little differently that we're super proud of. So, okay, what's next? All right, so that leads me into the marketing. So hopefully like, you guys are sitting there saying, okay, Tuwisha, that sounds nice. And like, what do you do for a living? And what have you done? And we're marketers. Talk to us in marketing speak. And I got that for you. So I don't know why those little red lines are there. It's spelled right, I think. Marketer, not English teacher. Work with me. Okay, so over the past year, a little bit about myself, because I jumped right into the meat of it. Again, my name is Tuwisha Rogers Simpson, and I actually just moved to Nashville a year ago to take this job. Thank you. And I'm proud to say I'm newly a Nashvillian, and I love it. I love Nashville. And so my prior experience before coming here is I have about 20 years experience. I started at the age of 10 of doing integrated marketing. And I worked for a media company called Urban One. Is anyone familiar with Urban One? If you're not familiar with it, it's Radio One, TV One, Interactive One, as well as Reach Media. If you're not familiar with that, The Ricky Smiley Show, TV One News, Hello Beautiful, Madame Noir, those are some properties. And my role there was to run and start an in-house agency to actually leverage media planning to do media activation, strategy, content development, production, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The reason I bring that up is because what was really important to me a year ago when I came to the museum is how can I bring in the experience of content development, PR, like an integrated mindset, if you will, to help us brand the museum. So what you have on the screen here is within the year, these are some successes that we've had as a marketing team. And it's not me, I'm talking about the team, because there's definitely a wonderful, amazing group of people that I work with to help us do this. But since last June, we have increased our digital presence. As you can see, I'm not gonna run all the numbers, but those are really, really, like, we've practically doubled our pay, not doubled, we tripled. Our page views, our Twitter following, our Facebook as well as Instagram. Brand-wise, we are over 2.8 billion have been exposed to the brand over a year. The numbers are not over here, but engagement as far as PR, we've had over 5,000 mentions. We have some insane number in the billions of how many folks of unique visitors per month that we've had. We've been in great publications locally as far as, excuse me, I'm blanking out. Local publications, the Tennessean, but we've also been very, very graced and blessed to be in everything such as New York Times, Marie Claire, Essence, Billboard, BET, just to name a few. And then, I don't know if you guys heard, but sometime in June we had this little tiny party, just a little tiny party, just a little one. Shaka Khan came, she came by, blessed us. We had our grand opening weekend, which was during Black Music Month, and we had over 3,500 attendees, which I think is amazing given the conditions that we were in. But we had over 90,000 views and over 300,000 impressions in that weekend alone of people who joined us virtually for our weekend, which included our Legends Gala. Thank you so much. A Legends Gala, a summit, and a block party. And that was our way of saying Black music has a home. And so from a marketing standpoint, taking the approach of looking at this as an institution and being open to partnerships and ideas and ways of connectivity and find that unique value proposition that we have here as a museum has definitely paid off. Okay. So what we're really proud of here and what we're known for is telling the stories that have never been told. And so I mentioned to you earlier that what I love about the museum and what you can expect from us moving forward is we're going to really lean into the intersectionalities of culture and music. So why, Tuwisha? Because what I want to create for everyone is different ways that you can come into the museum and see it through a different set of eyes. Right? So what usually happens with attractions is you walk through a museum, like, okay, I've seen the museum, I've done this, why do I want to come back? Well, because here in the museum, as well as our programming and the things that we do as an institution, has themes to it. And 3 themes that we've already kind of tested this year that will grow out. One is called Music in the Movement, which is dedicated to the intersectionality of music and social justice. And if you know anything about social justice and music, they go hand in hand. It's peanut butter and jelly, spaghetti and meatballs. There's no way where you have a revolutionary moment and music is not there as a score, right? Then you have what we call hip-hop scholars. And hip-hop scholars, though it says hip-hop, is really dedicated to the future of music and storytelling. Because hip-hop now is the #1 genre in the world. #1, but it's also the youngest. Hip-hop was actually founded in 1974. It's about 40-something years old. Only 20 years, older than me. Yes, I'm still on the age thing. I'm still really only 30. And so as the youngest genre for what it's doing and the way it's globally taking over right now, it's amazing. The other reason why we have hip-hop scholars is because right now what we understand from a marketing standpoint is that 74% of general population, or we could say white population, and 73% of Hispanics believe that Black culture is pop culture. Did y'all catch that? And I'm saying that not to say that other culture is not important. What I'm saying to say is that we're in a place where, again, this culture is dictating and setting a tone on how we engage with American culture today. And so just to give you another example of that, anybody here watch Blackish? Yeah, watch Blackish? The #1 viewer for Blackish are actually white Americans between the age of 34 to 50. Yes. That is the #1 viewership of Blackish. And that's a great thing, because what that says is what we're doing is we're moving into a country that starts to see nuances and understands that culture is part of the American story. It's no longer a monolith, right? It's not one person's perspective. It's a multiple perspectives. So to that, the last one I want to talk about, just kind of show off a little bit, is Women in Harmony. And what Women in Harmony is doing as a platform is that there's a throughway here, because we're women today, there's a throughway theme here of telling stories that haven't been told before. So we were very intentional about talking about women in music and the impact behind, in front of, on the side of that women had in creating the path of what black music is. And so in all of these themes, when you walk through the museum, you can actually see these themes through the museum calling out at you. When you walk through Wade in the Water, there's something there about civil rights and music. You'll see a lot about Aretha Franklin and her participation in gospel, right? When you walk into the next one, Crossroads, we talk about women who first started in blues and how they made the way for other blues singers to come, and how they did business, set the tone for business for all blues musicians, and so on and so forth, until you get to our last gallery, The Message. We have a whole thing dedicated on women in hip-hop, from Missy to Lauryn Hill, to even having a pair of Trina boots. And all this is important because, again, it's telling a story that's not usually told. And so I want you to think through that, because this is a different way to walk through the museum that you probably didn't do the first time. It's a different thematic to touch on, but it also provides me as a marketer an opportunity to grow out institution. So I'm going to skip this video because I'm running out of time. But I'll send the video out if everyone's interested in it. What it was actually a video of celebrating women in harmony, and it was us giving homage to women who are in country music, which brings me to my last slide. And so as a marketer, and I also have to admit, you guys, I'm a professor, I teach school, and I was like, I can't leave the stage without teaching something because it just feels awkward not to do that. It's part of my DNA. And so a little bit more about myself. Again, 20 years, and one of the things that I specialize in is in multicultural marketing. I am a strategist, but I have a concentration in understanding in multicultural marketing. And what I love talking about is just the mindset of storytelling. And the reason I mention multicultural marketing is because one of the things we have to do in multicultural marketing is we talk about nuances. That's the difference, right? And so part of it is a 3-step process that I take in the art of storytelling. If you are a marketer, you understand that part of your job is to create Jedi mind tricks. Y'all know that, right? That's our jobs. We are creating Jedi mind tricks. The best way you can create a Jedi mind trick is to understand nuances about people. The best way we can do that so we know nuances is to storytell, right? And so I came up with this term called texture, which is culture in context. What does that mean, Tuwisha? So can everybody do me a favor? Close your eyes. When I say the word silk, can you feel silk? Does it feel soft? Do you see something soft? Really feminine? Maybe a blush? Maybe a nice light gray color? Okay, if I say the word wood, now it's hard, right? Something hard, you're thinking trees. Okay, you go open your eyes now. Because when you think of something with texture, even without you touching it, you can smell it, you can feel it, you resonate with it, you understand it on a level, a memory comes to mind. It has a deeper resignation to you. Even without touching silk, you can feel the softness of it. Well, that's the secret ingredient into actually doing marketing. What's that nuance that gives you texture? A real nuance will give you culture and context. So they say it's not enough to put an ad where you have women of different color representation. What matters is what is this environment and the interaction of these said women, and what are they doing to make you believe that your brand is really in context with these women, to make me believe, Jedi mind trick, that I see myself in it to buy it. What a lot of brands have done and have done in the past, they come to me and say, hey, we want to be multicultural, or we want to be relevant to urban. And by the way, urban is not black people, everybody. Urban is people who live in urban areas. Okay, and I say that because as urbanites, you need to see buildings, you need to see movement, you need to see people doing hustle and bustle, because that's what urban is, right? And so whenever we're trying to have these things and tell these stories, it's not enough to have a woman in a picture and say, okay, she's black and she's smiling and she's, you know, stirring up a pot of something. If that pot of something isn't believable, and what she's cooking and she's smelling and she's not doing things that I can identify in my kitchen, in my culture, in my context, then I don't believe your brand or your ad. What you're doing is you're providing me a face that I cannot connect to. And it's not just face, but it's also, it's also psychodemographics. Like, we can't have women who just like to have, who supposed to have 2 children and she comes home, it's like, yeah, she want pizza. Yeah, okay, moms, raise your hand. That's not realistic. You're tired. You're tired, you're trying to wrestle with a decision, you have things about work on your mind, you're trying to take that bra off because it's been a long day. You're laughing, but it's true. How would you feel if you saw an ad that talked to you about how to make your life easier, but show the complexities of what your real life looks like? That you say, I see myself. And that is the solve to my problem right there. DoorDash. Got it. Done. Check. Right? And so I won't spend a lot of time here, but I'm really big on texture. The second thing I think is magical is identifying synergies. So what we tend to do is, okay, we got the story down, but what are the hero moments and connections to make the story believable? How many people love Beyonce? Woo, yeah, B. How many of y'all would believe that Beyonce shops in Walmart? You're laughing, but you have brands that say, go get me Beyonce, because Beyonce is going to bring credibility to my brand. You have to find the right synergy. Beyonce, yes, is popular. Yes, she has a lot of impressions, but Beyonce is not going to be in Walmart for Walmart's sakes. The synergy is not there. You know whom you might believe be in Walmart? One of your favorite influencers that you know, or maybe even your neighbor, because sometimes we think influencers have to be celebrities. Hello, someone. Influencers always have to be popular people. They need to be people who have influence. And so for the mom, it might be other mothers. For the churchgoer, it might be another, churchgoer, right? But that person who we believe in Walmart in context makes a world of a difference. Y'all following me? Making sense? Storytelling. And last but not least, authentic voices. Sometimes our voice is not the right voice. Sometimes we have to find people to help us tell our stories as marketers. It's this really, really great cartoon I saw once where it's a baby looking at one of those mobiles, right? And the parents walk in and say, oh my gosh, this mobile is so beautiful, and oh, the baby's gonna love it. And when you look at the baby, all he sees is the butts of the animals spinning around. As marketers, that's sometimes that's the consumer. The client is like, I need this, but the consumer's looking at butts. Because sometimes clients get caught up in what they think is the right voice to tell their story. But if you want the story to land for your consumer, you might need a different voice, and it's not yours. Right? And so sometimes as marketers, we have to tie the dots together of finding the culture and context, identifying where we're really going to find those synergies and wins, and then finding the right voice to tell that story so the brand can prevail. And you say, what's that to do with the museum? Well, this is what we're doing at the museum. We're finding culture and context. We're identifying synergies that we can live beyond who we are as an institution. And we're looking for partners like yourselves to help bring authentic voices to all those different places and things that we're trying to achieve. All right, so I think my time is about up, if I'm not mistaken. I want to thank you all so very much for being here. I hope to see you all again. Please, please, please stay in touch, and thank you.